How many of you have met somebody with diabetes? What if I told you that 60% of people who have diabetes have a significantly higher risk at developing Alzheimer's? Researchers have coined the term type 3 diabetes to describe this connection. The term is actually used to define the connection between insulin resistance and the brain and Alzheimer's disease. If we understand the connection, then maybe it can help us make the right choices for our brain health. We can begin to understand by knowing what type 3 diabetes is, how it connects to Alzheimer's, and ways we can reduce the risk. This topic is very personal for me because my grandma lived most of her life with type 2 diabetes and then later developed dementia, a severe stage of Alzheimer's. Seeing how it affected her has motivated me to learn more and share this knowledge with you. So before we dive into the connection with Alzheimer's, let's first define what type 3 diabetes is. Type 3 diabetes is not an official medical diagnosis, but the term is used by researchers to describe insulin resistance in the brain. According to an online article titled Type 3 Diabetes and Alzheimer's Disease, What You Need to Know by Palmetto Endocrinology, found on palmettoendocrinology.org. And also, by Palmetto Endocrinology, a lot like type 2 diabetes, which affects how the body processes sugar, type 3 diabetes occurs when the brain cells become resistant to insulin, so they can't take it in anymore. According to another article titled Effective Lifestyle Choices for Managing Alzheimer's Disease-Related Dementia, by Mayo Clinic, found on mcpress.mayoclinic.org. Our brains need insulin to regulate memory, learning, and overall brain function. When our brain cells do not receive enough insulin, they struggle to function correctly. This can cause cognitive decline over time, also according to Palmetto Endocrinology. So what are some early symptoms? Frequent memory lapses and confusion, often difficulty concentrating, problem solving, and over time, these symptoms can progress into more serious cognitive issues resembling Alzheimer's or dementias. Now that we understand what type 3 diabetes is, let's explore its link to Alzheimer's. Now, what do these studies and evidence prove? So according to Mayo Clinic studies, they show that people with type 2 diabetes are 60% more likely to develop Alzheimer's disease. They also found that Alzheimer's patients often have insulin resistance in their brains, similar to what we see in type 2 diabetes. But according to an article titled Alzheimer's Disease and Healthy Aging Prevention by the CDC, found at the cdc.gov, our brain relies on insulin to help nerve cells communicate and form memories. The CDC also states that without enough insulin, brain cells begin to die. This leads to brain shrinkage, plaque buildup, and memory loss. Some researchers from the CDC now refer Alzheimer's as brain diabetes because of how insulin resistance plays a role in this development of Alzheimer's. While genetics and aging are factors in Alzheimer's, managing insulin resistance can lower the risk we face. Now that we know the risk, how can we protect ourselves? According to an article titled Making Healthy Lifestyle Choices May Reduce Your Risk for Dementia by the National Institute of Aging, found on the NIH.gov, avoiding processed foods and excessive sugar helps us maintain stable blood sugar levels. Another online source titled Reduce Your Risk for Dementia by Alzheimer's Society, found on alzheimers.org, that eating a brain-healthy diet like leafy greens, berries, nuts, and fish also help us regulate our blood sugar and support brain function. Regular exercise is another powerful tool, says Mayo Clinic, that it can lower the risk for Alzheimer's by almost 50%. Alzheimer's Society states regular doctor visits can help monitor blood sugar levels and insulin levels. To remember these prevention tips, I did make a handout for you all. You can turn it over now. You can take this home, which summarizes what we discussed. It's basically a list of healthy foods and symptoms to be aware of. So it tells you what type 3 diabetes is, which is the term that researchers are using to describe insulin resistance in the brain, how insulin affects the brain, signs and symptoms of type 3 diabetes, the link between type 3 diabetes and Alzheimer's, how to reduce your risk, nutrition tips, how to stay active, and monitoring your blood sugar. And it also cites all the sources on them too. By making these small lifestyle changes, we can significantly reduce our risk of developing type 2 diabetes and Alzheimer's. So to conclude what we talked about today, we described what type 3 diabetes is, how it's connected to Alzheimer's, and ways to reduce our risk. While there's still research to be done, what we do know is that our everyday choices do matter, not just for our bodies, but for our brains. So whether for yourself or someone you love, the small changes you make can have a big impact later. Thank you.